You're listening to the Known Legacy Podcast, brought to you by Known Legacy Ministries. For more information, go to knownlegacy.org. Now here's your hosts, Bill and Travis.
Good morning,
Vietnam.
I know. I still like. I feel like every time we do that intro, I want to do it every time we do it. But I'm like, it's gonna be. Someone's like, "Oh, Bill's doing it again."
Stop.
He's doing the intro again.
And if you're wondering what podcast you're listening to, what you stumbled onto, this is Known Legacy. It's Bill, Travis, and Kyle, our producer, and we just kind of have great conversations to help guys and families wake up to the world and the mission and the unique relationship they have with Jesus Christ, to gear up, get some of the tools they need to do what needs to happen, and then come alive, because there's nothing more like the adventure of following Jesus wherever he leads you.
Absolutely. I love it.
So you can check us out on Instagram. We're on the Facebooks, and YouTube is kind of our landing zone if you want to see the video. If you're listening on audio and you want to see what we look like, YouTube's a place for you, and you might regret it. I'm just going to say
if you want
straight
to see
up.
I'm sorry.
Just straight up, you're going to regret this decision that you make. I got the coughs.
You got the coughs. I got the coughs. I got the black lung pop. Hey guys, want to let you know about a couple things. If you are a business owner out there, and man, we are honestly looking for you, because we are fully funded by donations through our 501c3 nonprofit, and we are looking for sponsors for the Known Legacy podcast, which will give you some opportunities to share your business and share your support of Known Legacy. So if you're interested, go to info@Known Legacy. We're going to share some more information with you about that, if there's any desire for that, as well as letting you guys know.
And I'm excited that our first sponsor is going to be coming on next week.
Yes.
So I'm pretty excited about that.
Should
That's
be fun.
or in the weeks to come, wherever we drop and however we drop
to
these.
come, yes.
So
sir.
I'm excited. Thanks to our first sponsor.
Should be good. We're excited about that.
Very excited.
So also want to let you know about our men's retreat coming up September 19th to the 21st.
Correct.
It's going to be at Arrowhead Camp in Glen Rose, Texas. So, man, there will be a link in this information, in this podcast, if I could just use the right word, in the information thing that shares the stuff for you guys, if you want to, just in case you're interested. Hey, but right now we are doing an early bird special for the men's retreat, and space is limited. It does make actually a great Father's Day gift.
Yes. So if there's
dads.
ladies listening, this would be a great Father's Day gift. Amazing time in the Word, some phenomenal fellowship, and of course cornhole tournament. Got to defend my second place and maybe go for first this time. I'm just going to say.
Not that it's biased with the guy who's
at all
leading the thing, but anyways, it's okay. It's all good. Guys, check that out. Check out the link in the bio. Man, we are so excited to have you here today with us.
Yes, absolutely. So the question that I wanted to ask, been going through Bible through the year, and we stumbled into the book of Jonah, and I love the book of Jonah for a whole host of reasons. But the question I want to ask, Jonah, who was this reluctant missionary, I would say, he didn't necessarily want to obey the call of God, you might say, because he was called to go to this town called Nineveh, which we don't need to get into the details of Nineveh itself, but it's kind of that, man, there, God, you want me to go there?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys, if God called you, where's your Nineveh? Where's the one place that if God called you, you'd be like, I'm not so sure about this. I might get on an airplane and go the other direction. What do you got, Bill?
I think for me, now that I've had time to process, I would say anywhere on the equator. Because if you noticed, I'm extremely light-skinned.
Such a practical answer.
I would bake like
you would
tomorrow. So I'll pack my bags tomorrow, because God's probably going to send me to Bolivia or something.
You'd be affectionately called the sunburned prophet.
Exactly. The red man.
the red hair, red skin.
The red man.
Bringing the blood of Jesus. Kyle, how about you? What do you got?
So I'm going to say North Korea.
Oh.
Just wouldn't be fun.
It's probably all you got to kind of lay that out there. It just wouldn't be fun. Wouldn't be a place.
Would I get in trouble if I said Rome? Would that be bad? Would that be bad?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. That would be a delightful place to
go. A gorgeous place.
That'd be a great place to go. Man, for me, I don't know. I think any place really cold would be hard to be a missionary, because so many people they're locked up in their homes all the time. I would assume
all the time, yeah.
And then you don't even know who you're talking to, because they're covered from head to toe in like garbs, and clothing, and stuff like that.
I see a nose. Right. I see that nose.
So anywhere we'll just go Canada.
Nice.
Canada. How about Canada? Canada.
Canada. maybe back to school first for English.
So-
maybe possibly.
So your Ninevehs are there. What about your paradise? If God was to say, "Hey, I'm calling you to here," you would have already packed your bags, bought the ticket, and you'd be on your way.
Oh, I need to think about this.
Where's your paradise one?
Where's yours?
Oh, for the sake of my marriage and my wife, it would be anywhere in the Caribbean. It'd be any of the islands. Aruba would be a fantastic little place where there's beaches and you can just sit out and talk about Jesus as you drink Mai Tais. I think that'd be fantastic.
Dear goodness. So, Kyle, what about you?
Well, thanks for stealing that, Travis.
Well, that's why I went
Well,
first,
we could
Kyle.
move
That's
Known
why I
Legacy
went
somewhere
first.
if we need
I'm
to.
going to
so-
one up you, though. I'm going to get my modest boat
Oh,
that I can live on, cruise around it's going to be named Part the Seas. And
Nice.
cruise around the Caribbean.
the part the
and
sees
hit all the
profit.
islands. Yeah.
So
there you go.
you're hitting them all. You're just
I mean, this is the plan. This is the actual plan.
that's tapping into like
Yeah.
old school Western, the preacher on a horse, the
Yeah.
redheaded
Yeah,
stranger
yeah.
going from town to town and just
The redheaded stranger.
before his wife leaves him and then it goes horribly wrong. We won't sing the song, but thank you, Willie. Thank you for a great album, Willie.
I guess I don't know that one.
Redheaded Stranger? You don't know the album
I'm sorry.
Redheaded Stranger?
I'm not a
from Willie
country
Nelson?
guy. I'm not a country guy. I don't really do that.
Thank you for listening to Known Legacy Podcast. This is where we stop. We're signing off. No sponsorships needed. See ya. Now, how about you? Where would be your paradise?
I guess I would say anywhere with the beach. I mean, it's funny as you say it, and then like you said Aruba, and then I thought about the Beach Boys song because my ADD kicked in. So like Aruba.
So you're not going to do the
Jamaica.
equator, but you're going to do the beach.
I know. I don't. I'm
no consistency with
I'm
us.
torn. I'm torn, Lord. I don't know what to do. Please direct my mind. So.
We're men. There's no consistency in anything we say.
Although, yeah, I think beach ministry would be really, really difficult, though, because everyone's like, I'm so relaxed. This
Yeah.
is like heaven. But I think it would be nice because my wife does love the beach and
Yeah.
so all that kind of stuff. But, speaking of missionary journeys and,
Yes.
and with the power of Paul and the influence of Paul come two heroes of mine, Tim and Tawnya Green. We're so glad to have you on today.
TNT. Because they're dynamite.
They are dynamite. We love these two guys. What about you guys? What's the place you're like, man, I really wouldn't want to go there to start with? Where would you kind of be like, I don't know where I'd want to go. Like, I wouldn't want to be there.
For me, it would be somewhere where it's really cold.
Okay.
I am grumpy when I'm cold. and
Yes.
I would not be a good missionary.
The joy of the Lord is not found when you're breathing out like, no.
When you can see your breath.
Right. There's no joy of the Lord.
Yeah.
Tim, what about you?
Yeah, I guess having experienced it anywhere in the tropics.
Okay.
I'll go because we did, but the tropics, it's just, I don't want to say miserable, but it's pretty close.
Maybe we should have had him on first before we went to our destination.
Well, I don't want to make any assumptions, but as a man who carries my own insulation with me, as a larger gentleman, I could see where the joy of the Lord is not there when you're sweating out 5 gallons every minute.
Yeah.
Or is it a great weight loss technique? I don't know.
I come back. Yeah. Anyways,
Discuss.
We digress. We
Okay,
digress.
we digress. So, what about your place you'd love to go? If you could go anywhere, where would you guys would go?
For me, it would be somewhere on the Mediterranean.
Ooh.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like we missed one there.
We
boys.
missed. We did miss one there.
We missed it.
We missed it.
Once again, the woman.
I'm going to take
coming up with
Tanya's
the-
answer. I take Tanya's answer.
Fine, it's already taken. Fine.
What about you, Tim?
I guess a paradise place. I really don't know. I'm willing to go anywhere. I kind of find comfort or good things in really any place that we go to. I like the cold weather, so I wouldn't mind going into a cold weather environment.
There's love in this relationship because they're willing to serve each other all the way through. All the way through. I love it.
That's fantastic.
Well, guys, I wanted you on because, man, I mean, again, I know your story from years ago, and we served together at the same church. And I have a love for these two. I have a respect for these two. If there's a man who was an honorable husband who would always hold the door open for his wife, Tim is that man. I mean, he is an
Good job,
example
Tim.
of loving
Good
his
job.
bride. I know he's not perfect, although Tanya's like he is perfect, and so no, I'm just kidding. But I wanted you guys to share your story because it's incredible, and so kind of share a little bit more about your guys' beginnings and where you guys have been the last almost eight years.
I guess you want me to start. So I guess Tawnya and I we've been in children's ministry for, I don't know, 25 years going on, maybe a little longer, somewhere around 25 years. And God gave us a passion to reach the next generation early on in our lives, early on in our marriage. And that's what we've been doing. We did that at our hometown back in Midland, West Texas, and we weren't sure exactly if we were, I don't know, in the place we needed to be. Something was stirring up inside of us. We didn't know exactly what it was, but we did get invited to go on a missions trip. It was a family missions trip, which was different than had been offered in the past. Most of the missions trips were for men only, like work trips, or for ladies, adults usually only, to go to these different places for various reasons. But this one was for families. The kids could go, and that's something that we had really wanted to do, is go on a mission, not just in our local communities with the kids, but somewhere out of state, out of country, with the family. And Fiji came up, and we thought, okay, yeah, we could, we'd like to take our family and do this family missions trip. And so we filled out the application, and then both of us kind of looked at each other and wondered, where exactly is Fiji? We've heard the name, we've heard
Drank the
it
water.
was a paradise place. We didn't know exactly where in the world it was, and so we went, and we went with our home church, and just loved every minute of it. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of the primitive living conditions, and
We slept on the floor on mats
yeah, slept on the
at an
floor.
outhouse. It wasn't. I mean, it definitely wasn't a resort.
Yeah, and and the other people on our team, we were probably 2 or 3 days into the 9-day mission, and probably on the third day, a lot of them were like, "Oh man, I am ready to go home." The weather was, even though it was winter time, in the tropics, it was still really warm and pretty humid, and yeah, the rest of the team just wasn't feeling it as much. But Tawnya and I were like, "Oh man, we could stay here longer, and we got to interact with the local kids in a local school close to the small farm we were staying on, and just really fell in love with it. And came back to West Texas, continued serving in kids ministry there at our church, went back to work, and we just talked to God. We said, "God, if you want us to go somewhere, just let us know." And we did that for 2 years. And in those 2 years, I think God was, well, even before all of that, God was training us, teaching us, and preparing us to go. And then finally in 2014, we got an email from our Fiji contact, the missions organization there. And in 2016, we permanently moved to Fiji with our 2 girls, and started serving the Lord. We made a life there and spent 8 years in Fiji with the local pastors, a safe place for women and children, and just loved serving God, loved serving the kids, the pastors, churches there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
First, I want to amend my earlier comment about my Nineveh children's ministry.
Okay,
That's my
okay,
Nineveh.
that's okay.
If God calls me to go to children's ministry, I'm out. I'm tapping out. But how old were your girls when you guys moved to Fiji? And what was that experience for you guys and them? Because I mean, that's That's a big shift, not just for two grown adults, but for that whole family to go into
Yeah.
that mission work.
Yeah.
What was that like for you guys and your girls particularly?
Yeah, well, one thing, we had a 19-year-old son that was already in college. So we left him in Texas and took our girls with us who were 15 and 12. And it was a challenge for them. They left what they knew of, their social groups and their home church. And that's not something you can recreate in the mission field. And so trying to navigate how to help them build relationships and have something that they can relate to, it was a challenge. And I think we tried to get them involved in a youth group, but living abroad, and you don't understand the language and the culture, it makes it challenging to try to be accepted, and especially in a culture that's very poor. Not until we got there did we realize just how we would be seen and stereotyped as the wealthy Westerners.
Interesting.
And so that was something that was eye-opening. After we'd been there probably 6 months, did we realize, oh, we're not viewed as humble missionaries. We're viewed as rich Westerners. And how do we?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. It makes me so the tension. So I kind of want to back up a little bit. Those 2 years of waiting when you guys were like, "Are we supposed to do this?" What were the wrestles? What were the conversations? What were the kind of things as you were like, "Man, God, I think you're doing this." Can you walk through some of that with us a little bit? Because I think a lot of people they have this idea of like, "Oh, I'm on this trip. This would be awesome," and then they just let it lay flat.
Right.
Why? What caused you guys not to let it just be a great experience at one point, but something you feel called to?
Well, I think looking back at the short time we were there, 9 days, I think, right? Using some of those experiences and whether they were good or bad, and trying to process them in the moment with me at my job, and Tawnya going back into the children's ministry, and using those to help us live our everyday life. We didn't completely change back into or completely change from the island life that we had experienced for 9 days coming back to Texas, but we tried to I guess add a few of those experiences into our life. I taught in the federal prison, taught computer classes, Microsoft Word, typing, and things like that. And I was really able to, I guess, see that as a mission rather
Right.
than just a daily job, and be more of a person there for the students, for the inmates that might have a question other than just, how do I type this or what do I do here? And try to use those experiences to help me in my everyday job. I think that's kind of what it did for me.
Well, and I think, God and his generosity, and as we started thinking through this, he put people in our path that were encouraging and would pray with us, because we did have that 2 years as we started navigating this. During that 2 years, you also have the negativity. And I can't tell you how many times we were told, well, I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
And Tim, one time I asked Tim, I said, are we crazy? And he said, yes, but we're the good kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I liked him.
Yeah. No, I love that, because I think those are the tension where, like, as people are walking in, and I know that you have a question too, but that's that tension that I think most people just kind of fade away, and they're like, no, it's going to be too difficult.
Right.
But I love that in those signs. So you've got people who are struggling with, man, they've had this great experience, but they kind of push it away. Like as you talk as you talk through it with each other, what's some encouragement you would give to someone who's like, man, I had this great experience, but I'm about to tuck it away? What would you say to them that caused you to keep going that might cause others to stop?
I remember specific times of just sitting in our room and just asking God to please remind me um, of that first um, feeling of the Holy Spirit telling me I should go, and just to help me to trust Him, and it was just continuing to put one foot in front of the other and saying, "I trust you, I trust you," um, and it wasn't easy for sure, but I saw God do little things that would remind me this is what I need to do. And as we would pray together, God, open the doors you want open and close the doors you want closed. He did that.
That's amazing, and I love that. And it's very much in line with the question I was going to ask: is what are some of the hurdles that were thrown, or that you could have gone? Yeah, you know what? It's not the time. But before you get to that question, just the idea of let's say there's a gentleman listening, or there's a family listening to this. First and foremost, hey family, glad you're listening. What would you encourage them? Like, what was the process for you? Some things that you talked about is you bathed it in prayer. You developed a community around you. What other things would you encourage them to do if they're like, man, I feel like God's calling me to something, but it's so obnoxious and it sounds so crazy to people I know and I love and I care for.
Yeah.
What encouragement would you give them? What tools would you give them to kind of navigate some of that stuff?
One is to be in the Word. To be in the Word and asking God to just reveal His Word completely, and to be studying it, and also to we had a missions pastor who encouraged us to speak with other missionaries, and to ask them important questions, and to those hard questions of what are my expectations, what can I be doing to help me navigate what this looks like.
Yeah.
And truly it was just the Lord just putting people in our path.
Yeah. And one of the things with the people that God was putting in our path is not only were we asking some of the questions about their experiences, but they were also asking us tough questions about, what is our future going to be like? What about your finances, your kids?
Right.
When you're sitting in this new location, wherever you're going to be going to be, what might everyday life look like? That's going to be completely different than what your bubble of where you came from there in West Texas. They began asking us those hard questions so that we could be thinking about, those tough situations and things that will be coming in those next steps.
And we did go through training. We went
Okay.
through a month of intense cultural training, but it looks at if someone is thinking about missions, I would encourage them to go through some kind of training, because it really looks at, for us, especially as Americans, what it looks like to live in another country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had a question and just totally lost it.
No, you're okay. I'm loving this conversation because I feel like it hits the. Do you remember it?
I do.
Go for it.
And
Go for it.
So, first off, I love your willingness to not delay, but continue to find ways to serve locally, and I think that's so important.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and it goes back to the parable of the talents, and like, man, if God gives you 5, invest those 5 where you're at right now,
Yeah.
and see what He might do with that. I would love to know the impact that you've seen it have on your kids, because I know for a lot of families that may be feeling called to this, the kids are going to be the big hurdle.
Yeah.
You know, and what's the impact on my daughters as they're coming into the teenage years and missing opportunities like homecoming or proms or all of the kind of North American tropes, and your son who's at college, and now to go see mom and dad, it's a 20-hour airplane ride and everything else. But what was a positive, if any, experience for your kids and their faith journey as you guys stepped out into this and felt called to this?
I would say something that has helped them is to getting out of the bubble of American culture and seeing other cultures, and just the life in Fiji is very simplistic, and people are so content and happy with very little. And I think that we saw that revealed in our girls, especially, in that they could um, like just handle tough situations better. And I know
Hmm.
one time our youngest was at boarding school and they had some kind of freak storm and they didn't have power for 2 days. And she said, everybody's freaking out because they don't have power. It's not that big a deal. We'll be fine. You know?
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's got to make
And
you
we
so
went
proud.
multiple times, many days without
Yeah,
power,
we
many
had,
days without water,
yeah.
and so yeah,
Wow.
they're able to just glide right through situations like that when they come up. Yeah, and
So go ahead.
I was gonna I think one thing also with our girls was giving them the confidence, um, I guess, to be on their own or to travel internationally. Um, and like Tanya said, when situations do come up, they've got a few more experiences that they can look back on to help them.
That's fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Oh no. So I guess for me, as I'm thinking about all this, the big picture, how has your perspective changed? From 2014 to now. And I know the world's changed, and obviously different. But like, how has your perspective on life and ministry changed in this in this experience?
Hmm.
Uh, you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, yeah, you can start.
For me, I've been thinking about this a lot just as we've come back, and I thought when I worked in the church and I had decided this was going to be my job and I was going to sacrifice my Sundays to work in the church. And as Bill knows, sacrificing Sundays was hard because it was 4 services. It was a long day,
Yeah.
and we, were helping shepherd hundreds of kids and volunteers. And so it was intense. And I thought, this is when I'm dependent on God. But I was not dependent on God. I was really dependent in my own abilities and skills because
Yes.
working with kids came pretty easy to me. And so when God started stripping away all of the things that I had that were my safety net, and
A large
including,
unlimited resource room
yes,
supply
a
and
resource
Yeah.
room,
Yes.
and
24-hour Walmart and Hobby Lobby and
but the finances that we could do, large projects and things to help kids get excited about Jesus. But all that was taken away. Even the way we taught was taken away because kids in an island culture do not understand Western, especially American culture. So our lessons, our object lessons, all had to
Oh
shift.
yeah.
yeah,
And
Wow.
also just,
that was a
the,
real unexpected
yes.
experience. Yeah.
Yes, and they speak British English. So I was totally inept. I felt like, God, you made a mistake. I don't know what I'm doing.
Ooh.
Because I didn't understand British English. It is very different. And I didn't understand island culture in the way of how do I teach kids about Jesus in a way they can relate to.
And they
I
were
didn't grow
kind of
up on an island.
confused with our Texas English.
Yes, they were. But just that I when God started stripping away all of the things I had taken security in, like even a good job, life insurance, medical insurance, a retirement plan,
Yeah.
um, a nice home, all of those things were slowly taken away. And it was God saying, now, do you trust me?
Hmm.
And are you dependent on me for your daily life?
Yeah.
So you guys were over there for 8 years, and I'm sure there was a process, much like a calling to go. There was a calling to come home. I would love to know what that process
Yeah.
was for you guys to know when your season was over,
Yeah.
and like, what do you guys see that's ahead for you? What's next?
Yeah. I think thinking about when we felt like it was time for us to go, um, we had been given a few opportunities there in Fiji to speak into the kids' lives in different situations, and for different reasons, usually political reasons, those opportunities were being taken away. Those doors were being closed, um, and we thought, okay, we weren't quite sure exactly why, what's next. We had to replan some things. But then also one of the things we saw was the the pastors and the local ministries that we were involved with and close with were, I guess, beginning to um, take it on as their own. And we began training teachers more. We began training youth that were interested in kids ministry or just interested in the full-time ministry in general. We started mentoring and training those young adults, and we saw that desire and that passion for them to continue. Um, we saw that as an opportunity to. I think it's time for us maybe to step away
Yeah,
and let
yeah.
them take ownership of that. Yeah.
Wow.
I
Wow.
think that was probably the two biggest things that guided our.
And to say, we are still in contact with the pastors there.
Mhm.
And one of the programs we had has gone from 40 kids to 75. And
Yes.
And they're
so,
looking for a second location to
yeah.
to 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 split that group on different days that they have their kids ministry programs.
So God was saying we needed to get out of the way,
Yeah.
and it's been good.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love the idea of intentionally or unintentionally raising up the indigenous people to release them to do what you struggle to do, is connect with the culture, but they're from the culture, and so it's easier for them
Yeah.
to take the good news of Christ into that culture because they're indigenous to that culture, and that's fantastic.
Yeah,
So you
and we
guys,
saw a lot of situations, well, every situation where a kid wanted to take that next step or take a step further in their faith walk, they wouldn't come to us for those, I guess, personal, deep questions, because it was hard for them to communicate in their heart language with us.
With
right?
English with us.
in
Yeah.
in in English, and so they would go to their to the pastor's wife or their Sunday school leader and talk to them in their heart language and have those deeper conversations. And yeah, it was good to see that and see that we could step away and that still continue on.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
So you guys are back in America, and I'm sure struggling to reacclimate yourself to the hustle and bustle. What do you think is next? What do you see on the horizon for you?
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Well, we've been given a couple of opportunities, and one of them is actually going into Cairo, Egypt, and doing something similar, but would be training teachers and young adults and how to teach kids the Bible in a fun, exciting way and different lessons and things that they can do, and helping teach English. And then the other one is the church that we're actually in now, in the Fort Worth area, have invited us to help them begin a kids program.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that you'd be starting it with a different perspective than an American church response to it. I love that idea. And so, again, man, we've had a great time with you guys being on here. And man, before we move into the Fast Five, any final thoughts? Because I feel like there's a lot of people that are on the edge. They're staring off the cliff and they're wondering, should I jump? Should I do this? What are your thoughts to them? What are your responses or your encouragement to those kind of individuals?
Well, when we were fundraising, Tim often says the word fun is in fundraising, but it is not fun.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And especially, you guys know, and
Yes.
especially when you tell people, I'm going to Fiji, they're like,
Yeah.
And
You're
so
going to the
getting-
vacation spot, right? Right.
Exactly. And we heard that, so trying to get people on board. But I was able to talk more out of frustration with a fellow missionary. And he said, do you believe God wants you to go there? And I said, yes. And he said, then believe God's going to get you there.
That's good.
Why are you dropping truth like that?
I know. I'm telling you. Fantastic.
That's so good. I love it. I love it. Well, and I think that's the encouragement today. I think there's a lot of people that are in the American church that are like, I know that there's more for me.
Right.
And when I mean that, like, not more for me, but for me to do for the glory of God, or for me to be a part of what God is doing. And I love that you guys have walked on water, and you guys have stepped out, and you've done an amazing thing. So we're grateful for you. Man, if someone wants to stay connected to you guys, or support you guys as you guys are in this transition? Because I know that this is still a transition time to go, what do we do? How can they support you guys right now?
Well, they can, I guess, directly to us, our email, timtawnya@yahoo.com.
We can put that link in there. Yep.
timtawnya@yahoo.com. And I guess.
Yeah. The biggest thing I think would be prayer. And then financially, we're with a group called Tying Vines. And as we navigate, are we supposed to go back overseas and help? Just if they feel like helping teach young people the word is something they want to get behind, then they could partner with us for that.
That's awesome. We will put that link
Yes.
in our bio. I said that one nicer than I said the men's retreat one, but we'll put that link in the bio. And so we'll have that for you because, guys, if you're out there listening, listen, support these people. They are incredible individuals who love the Lord, who have a passion for Him, and want to know what's next. And just like they said, fundraising is not fun. It's more drazing than it is anything else. I don't even know that's a word, but I'm going to use it. So I would tell you that that it's my English. It's not British English. It's not American English.
I'm still trying to figure out where
drazing. It's drazing.
Drazing.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's drazing. So, anyways, so you can take that to the bank. This is gold. You can.
Gold.
I dropped these once, so
pure gold.
Support these individuals because man, they love the Lord and they have a passion, and it's a rarity to find someone who's like, Lord, I just want you to take me where you want me, where you want me to be.
Right.
And so support these individuals. We love them dearly, and so thank you guys for your faithfulness on here. And man, this leads us into our next segment, which is the Fast Five. There it is. We love it. We love it. So a couple of questions for you guys. Who do you most admire and why?
Well, for me, I guess I'll start. Who do I most admire? Probably two people. First of all, we can't go wrong with admiring your wife. Okay, giving her the credit.
Well played,
that
sir.
was good.
Very well played.
There you go. But my wife and my dad, my father.
Hang on, we have to applaud for the wife one.
That they're tied together. Is honorable, trustworthy, and then a good moral and work ethic. They're hardworking, both of them, and I've got to see and experience that, and enjoy seeing that. It hasn't osmosis onto me yet, but yeah, that's my answer.
Love the honesty.
I love it. I love it. Tawnya, what about you? Who do you most admire and why?
I think for me, it's when I was homeschooling the girls, I got to go through some of these books called Heroes of the Faith, and they are past missionaries and people like Amy Carmichael and William Carey, that when they went into the mission field, they went knowing they probably were never coming back.
Wow.
And may not ever see their homeland or their family again. And I just think, man, that kind of faith and sacrifice. Whew.
Yeah. We had a different experience.
Yeah.
Whereas we knew that, with the modern age of air travel and stuff, that we
would come back.
probably come
Come
back.
back, yeah.
But
Yeah.
they didn't.
I remember reading, I think it was Spiritual Secrets from Hudson Taylor, and I'm not sure if it's him or somebody else, but they would actually pack a coffin.
Interesting.
And they would just send it because they're like, I'm going, I'm
Right.
never coming back.
Wow,
So
interesting.
I'm glad you guys didn't pack a coffin. I'm really grateful for that. So, but that's awesome. Well, it's awesome. Okay, number 2, where would you like to go on a vacation?
I am so excited about
Me
this
too.
answer.
I'm so pumped because it's so different. So, go for it.
Me first? Okay, so I want to go to Israel. I really do. I want to see that. We
That's a
had
good
a
answer.
chance to go to Saudi Arabia and visit his brother and family, and we were so hoping we'd get to go to Israel, but there's some conflict there, so
There is a conflict.
Rumor
there.
has it.
Rumor has it.
yeah.
What about you, Tim?
Israel definitely, but what's been on my bucket list for a long time is just a trip to Alaska, and not just a cruise, but a good inland
Wow.
tour too. I've been wanting to visit Alaska forever, and so that would be,
Tawnya, get your jackets.
Yes.
Get your jacket.
Yes.
definitely. I'd like to experience ice fishing, if not for just an hour, but I'd like maybe even to try it overnight. But
Oh, sounds miserable. Sounds miserable. Just sitting on the ice, waiting for a fish to pass by, hoping
Yeah.
and praying. But, hey, a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. So
Yep.
no more commentary from me. So
Yes,
I'll be quiet
it's
now.
good
Thank
gracious. I like it.
Love it,
That's
Tim.
okay. I love it. It's all good stuff. Okay, so what are you guys currently reading, whether it's in the Bible or another book?
I'm reading a book called The Land Between, which was recommended for me. I don't know if you've heard of it, by Jeff Mannion.
Great
it's
book.
when-
I love that book.
Yes. And just, it's been so helpful for me in navigating this transition time.
So
And
good.
then where Tanya, both of us are studying, going through a Bible study right now through the book of Mark, Jesus as Servant by Tara Lee Cobble. And it's just kind of opened our eyes a little bit.
Bible
through the book
recap.
of Mark, how Mark sees that. And then for fun for me, not that the Bible's not fun, but a little bit of entertainment
We
on
get
the
it.
side. I always try to catch the latest Batman comics. He's my
Nice.
favorite
This is awesome.
superhero, and so anything Batman.
That's awesome. Okay, what's a goal you guys have for this year?
A goal that we have this year. I guess for me, thinking about it, is just to be able to be quiet enough to listen to God's direction, calling.
So good.
And then a lot of times when I think about it, I think of the early '80s song, "Should I Stay or Should I Go?"
By The Clash, baby. Go, yeah.
Yeah. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Yeah, just I think that's my goal, is just to stay quiet enough to listen to his calling. Yeah.
What about you, Tanya?
I think it's just finding a place to fit in and serve well here.
Okay. It's good stuff. These are good goals. I like
Great.
these. I love when someone's like, I just want to hear God's voice.
Yeah.
So,
And serve well.
exactly.
Yeah. I see why they're dynamite.
Aren't they amazing?
They're amazing.
They are TNT.
They are TNT.
I love it. I love it. Okay, last thing. What's the most impactful piece of advice you've ever been given?
For me, I went through a 6-week course. It was like a counseling coaching course to help me. And we had a lot of interns in Fiji and just navigating with young people and walking with them. And the woman who was coaching me said, God is in our yeses, but he's also in our no's. And that was really good for me to hear, that if I know I can't do something and I have to say no, that does not limit God.
Amen.
She's got the mic drops.
She does.
Tim, you definitely married out of your league.
Yes, you did, man.
Way to say
Straight up
she's
out of your league.
the one, her and your dad are the two people you look up to. Well, good choices. Good choices.
Good choices, guys. This has been a blessing having you guys on and being challenged by you guys. For those out there who want to support, the link is in the bio. Tim and Tanya, thank you so much for being on today. We had a blast. So,
and I would say a little shameless plug here for your book. If you haven't had a chance to pick up Bill's book, More Than You, I would highly encourage you to do that, because I think it helps stir that adventure that you see with TNT here, and going wherever God wants you to go, and helping understand how God has uniquely created you to, live the adventure He's called you to.
and man, we'll put that link in there too. We'll have like 900 links, but we'll
There
be
you
in
go.
there. So, guys, thanks so much for watching today, for listening, and please share this with your friends. Like it. Follow us on Instagram and at Facebook and all the places. And thanks so much for being a part of what we do every week.
God bless you
have
guys.
a great week.
Thanks for listening to the Known Legacy Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so email us your questions or comments to info@knownlegacy.org.